Have you ever wondered if the person you love would still stand by you if you had nothing left? Would they love you the same way if your money, your success, and your stability disappeared overnight? This is a story about how I found out the truth about my wife in the most painful way possible. For 8 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. I worked hard, provided for my family, and gave my wife the best life I could. I never thought for a second that her love was tied to my bank account. Until one day, a conversation with my friends planted a seed of doubt in my mind, and that seed grew into something I could no longer ignore. So I decided to test my wife, to pretend I had lost my job and watch how she reacted. What I discovered shattered everything I believed about our marriage. Would you take this risk? Would you dare to test the one person you trust the most? Stay with me until the end, and let me know in the comments, was I right to do what I did? Should I have handled it differently? And most importantly, do you think this could happen to anyone? Now, let's start from the very beginning. I met Sophia when I was just 23 years old. At that time, I was already doing well financially. Unlike many young men who struggled to find their footing, I had built a strong foundation early in life. By 25, I was financially stable, living in a beautiful house, driving a nice car, and making smart investments. But despite all the wealth I accumulated, there was one thing I truly longed for: genuine love. When I met Sophia, I was drawn to her beauty, her charm, and the way she carried herself. She seemed simple, down to earth, and uninterested in material things. We dated for 2 years before I proposed, and during that time, I never once questioned her intentions. She made me believe she loved me for who I was, not what I had. After we got married, our life seemed perfect. We had 3 beautiful children, 2 boys and a girl, and I did everything I could to provide for my family. I never let my wife struggle or worry about finances. For 8 years, I believed we were a team. I thought we had built a marriage based on love, trust, and respect. But one night, a simple conversation with my friends made me realize I had never actually tested that belief. And that realization changed everything. It was a Friday night, and I had gone out with a few of my old friends. We were sitting in a bar, talking about life, marriage, and the challenges of relationships. Brian, one of my closest friends, leaned forward with a smirk. "You know," he said, sipping his drink, "some women don't really love their husbands. They love the life their husbands provide." I frowned. "What do you mean?" Damien, another friend, laughed. "He means that a lot of women only stick around as long as there's money and comfort. The moment things go south, they change." I shook my head. "Not all women. Some are loyal, no matter what." Brian raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure about that?" "Of course," I said confidently. "Sophia and I have been together for 10 years. I was already successful when I met her, but I know she loves me for me." Brian chuckled. "Then test her," I scoffed. "That's ridiculous." But as the night went on, his words stuck with me. Would Sophia still love me if I had nothing? Or was she only with me because of the life I gave her? I pushed the thought away, but deep down, something inside me had already shifted. I had to know the truth. The next Monday, I went to my boss and requested to shift my leave month. I made it look like I had lost my job. When I got home that evening, I took a deep breath, preparing myself for what I was about to do. I walked into the house with slumped shoulders, my face filled with worry. Sophia was sitting on the couch scrolling through her phone. She glanced up at me. "Hey, you look tired." I sighed heavily. "I lost my job today." She blinked, then slowly put her phone down. "Wait. What? They're downsizing?" I said, rubbing my forehead. "They let me go." She stared at me, her lips slightly parted. "So, what does that mean for us?" For a second, I thought she was asking out of concern. But then she continued. "Do we have enough savings to last a while?" she asked. I nodded. "For some time, yes. But we'll have to cut back on some things." Her expression changed slightly. Cut back. Like how? Well, we can't go on expensive vacations for a while. We'll have to be more careful with spending. But we'll be okay. She was silent for a moment, then picked up her phone again. Okay. That was it. No reassurance. No hug. No words of encouragement. Just, okay. And that was the moment I felt the first crack in our marriage. At first, I told myself she was just in shock, that she needed time to process what had happened. But then, little things started changing. She stopped making me coffee in the mornings, something she had done every day for years. She became distant, spending more time on her phone. She started nagging about the smallest things. One evening, I was sitting on the couch when she walked past and muttered under her breath, "I never signed up for this." I looked up. "What did you say?" She shook her head. "Nothing." But I heard her. And it hurt. It was as if, overnight, I had become a burden to her, and I had only been jobless. For a few days, the change in Sophia wasn't just subtle anymore. It became obvious. She stopped talking to me unless it was absolutely necessary. She snapped at me over the smallest things. One night, I was washing the dishes when I overheard her on the phone. "I don't know what's happening," she said. "It's like he's not even a man anymore." I froze. My own wife, talking about me like I was worthless. I clenched my jaw and continued washing the dishes. But in my mind, something snapped. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, was showing me a side of herself I had never seen before, and I was starting to realize that maybe I had never truly known her at all. I tried to convince myself that Sophia was just reacting to the stress of our situation. Maybe she was scared. Maybe she just needed time to adjust. But deep down, I knew better. Days passed, and she only got worse. She no longer smiled at me. No longer asked how my day was. No longer cared if I was okay. Instead, she looked at me with something close to disgust. One night, I overheard her on the phone again. "I can't do this," she whispered. "How did I end up with a man who can't even provide?" I clenched my fists. I wanted to believe she was venting out of frustration. But there was no concern in her voice. No sadness. Only resentment. And that was the moment I realized something. She had never really loved me. She had only loved what I could provide. But the worst was yet to come. It was a Saturday morning when I decided to confront her. She was sitting in the living room, scrolling through her phone as usual. "Sophia, we need to talk," she sighed dramatically. "About what now?" I ignored the irritation in her voice. "What's happening to us?" I asked. "Ever since I lost my job, you've changed. You barely talk to me. You barely look at me," she scoffed. "Because you're not the same man I married." Her words hit me like a slap. "What does that mean?" I asked. She shrugged. "I married a man who had his life together. A man who could provide for his family. Now look at you." I stared at her in shock. "You think my job defined me?" I asked. She smirked. "Well, it certainly made you more attractive." My chest tightened. "So, if I'm not making money, I'm nothing to you?" She didn't even hesitate. "I didn't sign up for a broke husband." I let out a bitter laugh. "Wow. Just wow." But the final nail in the coffin came that evening. I noticed she had started dressing up more when she went out. She started spending longer on her hair, applying perfume, and wearing outfits she hadn't worn in years. And then I saw it. A text message popped up on her phone while she was in the shower. "Can't wait to see you tonight, babe." I felt my heart stop. "Babe?" I picked up her phone, my hands shaking. The message was from a number I didn't recognize. And when I scrolled up, I saw them. Dozens of messages. Flirty. Intimate. From another man. She had been seeing someone else. And I had been too blind to notice. I sat there, staring at her phone, my mind racing. Was this why she had been acting so cold? Because she had already replaced me? When she walked into the room, wrapped in her towel, she froze when she saw me holding her phone. Her face went pale. Sophia, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Who is he? She swallowed hard. I don't know what you're talking about. I held up the phone, showing her the messages. Don't lie to me. Her lips parted, and for a moment I thought she might deny it. But then she did something that made my blood run cold. She smirked. So what if I'm seeing someone else? She said. I stared at her, feeling like I had just been punched in the gut. You don't even feel guilty? I asked. She shrugged. You're not the man I married anymore. My hands trembled with anger. So the moment I lost my job, you decided to cheat on me? Well, she said, crossing her arms. What did you expect? I need security. I laughed bitterly. So this whole time, you were only with me for my money? She didn't answer, and that was all the answer I needed. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my mind. The years we had spent together. The memories we had made. The children we had raised. Had it all been a lie? By morning, I had made my decision. I walked into the kitchen, where Sophia was making coffee. She didn't even look at me. I want a divorce, I said. She froze. Then she turned to me slowly. Excuse me? You heard me, I said. I'm done. She let out a laugh. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life, I said. She scoffed. And where will you go? You're broke, remember? I smiled. You see, Sophia, there's something I didn't tell you. She frowned. What? I leaned in, lowering my voice. I never actually lost my job. Her face twisted in confusion. What are you talking about? I smirked. It was a test. For the first time, fear flashed across her face. A test? I nodded. I wanted to see if you really loved me. And now I have my answer. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Wait. So you still have your job, yes? She let out a nervous laugh. Okay, you got me. It was just a rough couple of weeks, babe. You know I love you. I stared at her. Do you? Of course, she said quickly. I was just stressed. I wasn't thinking straight. I shook my head. No, Sophia. You showed me exactly who you are. I pulled out my phone and showed her the divorce papers I had already contacted a lawyer about. Her face went pale. You're not serious. I am, babe, please, she said, her voice shaking. Think about the kids. I am thinking about them, I said. And they deserve to see their father with a woman who actually loves him. Her eyes filled with tears. I made a mistake. No, I cut her off. You made a choice. And now I was making mine. 2 weeks later, I moved out. Sophia begged me to stay. She cried. She swore she would change. But I had seen the truth, and I could never unsee it. The divorce was finalized within months. I fought for custody of my kids, and to my surprise, Sophia didn't put up much of a fight. She had already moved on, and so had I. Looking back now, I don't regret what I did. I learned a painful but valuable lesson. Some people don't love you. They love what you can do for them. So here's my question to you. Would you dare to test your partner? And if you did, do you think they would pass? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you think this story is a warning to others, share this video. Because sometimes, the truth is hiding in plain sight.